As a labor and delivery nurse, are you educated on maternal separation and adoption and the benefit of skin to skin contact with the birth mother and the baby after birth during the golden hour for the birth mother?
Thank you so much for bringing this up because I've never talked about this before, and this is a super important topic to talk about. Okay, so to answer your first question, are we educated? Like, do we get classes on it? No. Everything that I've learned about how to care for patients who are considering adoption, I've learned from my buddies at work. So, how does Jen Hamilton and her buddies care for people who are considering adoption? Number one, it is important that we understand the dynamic of what is about to happen or what could happen before we walk in. So all of us labor and delivery nurses, we have a secret language that we use in order to talk about really sensitive things without the whole world hearing what we're saying. So our code when a patient is considering adoption is BUFA, which is baby up for adoption. We use other terms like IUFD for like if the baby is going to be stillborn, but it just helps us as we pass off care to one another know what the potential dynamic is before coming in, so we're not like, oh my god, yay baby, because this is going to be a really hard journey whatever happens today. The other thing I need to say is that I can only speak for where I work because I know that just like you were saying that you've heard stories of birth mothers who were dissuaded from holding their babies because it was going to be harder for them to give up their babies. I have no doubt that that has happened. So I don't know if it's just like a where I work thing, but we are fiercely protective of the pregnant person in this situation. We have had intended adoptive parents removed from the hospital if we didn't feel that that patient could truly make any kind of decision with them being there. So if I am coming on shift and I have a patient who is considering adoption, the first thing I do is kick every single person in that room out, at least for a little bit, because I want to have a conversation just with her so that I can get an understanding of the dynamic of how she's feeling, of who she wants there. And if she decides that the intended parents of this baby, that she wants them to be there, we can absolutely do that. But if there's any hesitation in whether or not she wants them there, they go into the house, okay? And I will be the bad guy. The other thing that we like to do early on is have conversations about the moment when the baby is birthed, because it is going to be highly emotional and highly traumatic no matter what happens. And what I like to do is give her not only the space that she needs to make a decision on whether or not she would like to hold that baby, but also the time that she needs to make it, right? She can decide now, she can say like, oh, I really have no interest in holding the baby, and then at the moment change her mind, and I make sure that she knows this. All that I can do is give her all of the information in the space that she needs to make that decision, and I will support whatever decision that she makes, whether it's to hold her baby or to not hold the baby. But I think I can speak for most all of my buddies when I say that we really are not super de-duper big fans of having a lot of pressure on that moment from the intended parents being in the room during the labor process. And I've seen some wild stuff from intended parents. But yeah, I'd love to hear if you have any perspectives that can help me care for them better.